My life was turned completely upside down in ways that I could have never imagined by false allegations, which were part of a broader strategy in a custody battle, where the lies were so thick and the assaults on my character so unrelenting and overwhelming that I almost succumbed to the weight of it all. I had to fight like hell for myself, for the truth, and for my children, up against a whole coalition of actors who were hell-bent on destroying me.
In an instant, I went from absolute exuberance to have a family with the woman that I loved and thought I knew, to a battle for my literal life and liberty and for the future of my child. Austin left when she was 2 months pregnant with our son, and shortly thereafter began corresponding with two other women. These women referred to themselves as the Coven. These conversations began fairly innocuously, but quickly transformed into a virtual war room, from which a series of actions were planned and incited, all of which were designed to garner as much leverage as possible in efforts to prevent me from being a father to my son. Itemized lists were created and shared detailing in dollar amounts exactly how much each false report and court action would cost me, as they gloated over the fact that all of this would break my will, break me financially, and prevent me from custody of my son. In these messages, they talked about following me around town to pinpoint my location after it was decided that a restraining order against me would serve their purpose well, and that to build a case for such a thing would involve putting my ex-partner in the same time and place as me to build a, quote, paper trail of evidence that I was stalking her to legitimize a restraining order against me. They joked and laughed about the deceitful, unlawful tactics that they were using to build a bogus case against me with police reports and court filings. The Coven coached my ex on what to say and how to lie to receive support from domestic violence advocacy centers, and how to say it to get the best results, and then use these nonprofits to advocate for free legal services to, quote, drag this out to infinity at no cost to you, and to, quote, bury him with this court shit and litigations until he just gives up fighting for custody. With the help and encouragement of the Coven, my ex filed more false reports, coming up with new allegations when the previous ones wouldn't stick. I was being contacted and interrogated by the police with frequency during this time. And then, in a twist of fate usually reserved for the greater works of fiction, I realized that the woman in the Coven that was primarily responsible for encouraging the unlawful, deceitful tactics of lawfare and false reporting was directly related to the judge presiding over the pending restraining order case. And then my ex began communicating with that judge directly and personally, as he told her, literally, in emails, that he would break the law and his oath to favor her in the case. Wait. Wait. How do you know all of this? You might be saying. Well, all of this, everything that I've talked about up to this point, and so much more, was made aware to me in real time as it was discussed and planned in the Coven. How? Well, my ex forgot to log off of my iPad when she left, and every deceitful plan was delivered directly to me through that device as it was conceived and hatched. Every plan to lie to the authorities, every plan to keep me off of my son's birth certificate, and to bury me by manipulating the legal process. Everything in black and white. And yeah, baby, I kept all of those receipts. There are nearly 2,000 pages of the Coven messages, conversations primarily focused on how to destroy me and hinder my natural rights to fatherhood by using the most vile and manipulative tactics imaginable. However, this is just the beginning. One chapter, the surface just scratched, of an ongoing, years-long battle for truth, and against not only the egregious abuses of the system in varieties of organizations, but of the egregious abuse by the system in varieties of organizations, which seemingly embody a dark spirit acting against children and families despite proclaiming virtuously their commitment to the former, while actively denigrating and alienating fathers, men who just want to be present in their children's lives. There seems to be almost a playbook for this kind of thing, for false reporting and other forms of legal manipulation when it comes to matters of custody, and that there are organizations embedded in the framework of our society that are complicit in this and that employ their own tactics of deceit. I understand that these are big claims that should require equally big and compelling evidence. I'm going to share my story in its entirety, something I've known that I need to do for some time, for my own healing and catharsis, but also for the many men that I've met who have shared with me similar difficult, painful experiences, having found themselves up against any number of false allegations shamelessly thrown their way by women looking to maximize their leverage in the family court system, who are oftentimes armed with unscrupulous lawyers and the backing of organizations that have been weaponized by agenda, and are also unconcerned with twisting the truth for their own ends. I'll be going against some prevalent cultural narratives that simply can't, for the sake of their own hegemony, acknowledge how commonplace these false allegations are, both in family court and the legal system at large. And I'll explore the almost absolute lack of accountability across the board for false reporting, which fuels this behavior. Anyhow, this is one hell of a story. It has twists, turns, love, betrayal, battles between good and evil, right and wrong, won and lost, corruption, deceit, redemption, and a whole bunch of stuff you just could not make up if you tried. Stick around, follow this project, this story, my story. This is Covens, Courts, and Custody.